שלום רב וברוכים הבאים לפסטיבל הסרטים הבינלאומי של חיפה, ה-37 במספר. אני איריס לקנר, מבקרת קולנוע, מרצה והמנהלת האומנותית של פסטיבל הקולנוע הרומני בישראל, והיום נמצאת איתי כאן באונליין אלינה גריגורה, במאית הסרט הרומני, ירח כחול. בונה סיוע, שימפרבינה. We'll have our conversation in English so all the audience can understand us. So, as the director of Blue Moon movie, let us understand better, first of all, where did you grow up in Romania?
Okay, of course. So I was born in Bucharest, but I was brought up in Neamț, in Neamț County, around Piatra Neamț actually, in a village named Roznov. And that's where I got in contact with the community there and with the girls, especially with the girls there, my classmates and my friends, my best friends.
You have a kind of interesting career, beginning as an actress in Romania and then went to America and got back to Romania to do a very interesting project. Can you tell us something about it?
Yes, of course. So after graduating UNATC, and having done some projects with Cristi Puiu and Adrian Sitaru, and I had some parts in television. I was
as
contacted by an agent, or as an actress, yes,
okay.
Exactly. I was contacted by an agent in Chicago, and while waiting for the projects that he would offer, because I was actually pretty bored, I registered in a couple of schools, one of them being Second City, and I really loved the way the teachers were relating to the students. They were trying multiple methods. It's a school that's based on improvisation, and they're working on the Viola Spolin methods, but they're very open to trying and experimenting many ways of understanding acting. So I was very impressed also with the way they were relating, humanly speaking, or from the pedagogic perspective. And I came back to Romania, and in 2011 I founded Inlight School. First we were only teaching acting and a little bit of drama writing or script writing, and in the end we started to develop different methods of actually researching and experimenting storytelling. And that's when Adrian Sitaru heard about us. I mean, we were friends, but he heard about the methods and he said, okay, let's try and develop the way you're developing projects in school. Let's try and develop a film. And that's how Illegitim was born. I worked a lot with the actors for Illegitim using this method. What we actually do is that we encourage the actors to work together. I believe a lot in collaborative working, in collaborative creation. So what we're doing is that we encourage them to work together because I think it's very important for each creator to come with its own perspective and opinion and creative act and so on. So for example, for Blue Moon, for this one, the actors work together on their common memories. And I think this is very visible in the relationship between Liviu and Irina. It's very visible that they know the same things about their family and about their past. And that was it becomes in a way, even if you don't hear it in the film, it becomes transparent for the public. They can feel that there's a common energy working there.
Now, the inspiration for the movie itself, the story that we are about to see, is it from some personal experiences or from the environment or things you saw around you?
Yes, when I came from Bucharest, I was used to a type of community with a very different way of relating to education. I was only 7 years old, I think, when I moved to Roznov, to the village directly from Bucharest. So I think I had a very powerful cultural shock because it was very hard for me to see, for example, that the parents were not encouraging the children to go to study, to go to school. And I think from that school, it's just a couple of girls that actually went to university or tried to have some further education. And a couple of years later, after I mean, of course, I went back home. It was amazing for me to see that things were not changing. I mean, it's been 20 years almost since the moment I moved there, and I felt as if things were not changing. Parents are still not encouraging the girls to go to school. They're mostly encouraged to make money or to go to Italy or to, I don't know, start having a family and so on. So I felt as if I have to tell this story. And it was something very, very familiar to me. The way of talking, the means of manipulations, the ambiguity of the victim, the way the aggressor builds its manipulation plan. It was something very familiar. So that's why.
So that brought you to write some short stories. Were they published anywhere?
Yeah, no, I never published them, but I keep using them for different projects, for film and theater. I like to connect them. It's still, everything is about experimenting and crafting. Okay. Yeah, I kept writing them since I was, I think, 14 years old, and I keep using them, or I keep using the dialogue inside those stories in my films.
So what you actually did in the writing of the script is take a few of these stories and make them into one story with many characters. Actually, all the people or experience you had in your short stories get alive in your movie?
Yeah, well, precisely for Blue Moon, I actually kind of had a book about it, not a story. I mean, the characters were mostly part of a book, so that I never published yet.
Okay. It's but very interesting, all those unpublished yes. Things. What was the most important thing for you that you wanted to reflect? Was it a more feminine side point of view, or maybe a more social one? What did you want to the audience to know more about, to understand more?
Mm-hmm. What was intriguing for me was the way Irina changes roles in this triangle of the victim, aggressor, and savior, because she keeps changing this role, and in the end she becomes the aggressor of her own aggressor. So for me, it was very interesting to follow these two perspectives: the male perspective of the aggressor, the victim, and the savior, and the female perspective. This is how we started the film. This is how the script was built in the first place. But then in the editing room, it became a lot about Irina, and I think this happened because, of course, I was more in touch with the female character, and the fact that Liviu brought so much human touch. The actor Mircea Postelnicu brought so much human touch to the character of Liviu, made it very easy for me to center the story on Irina becoming an aggressor, transforming from the victim to the aggressor. So in the end, it became a story about a female victim. But to be honest, it was a story about the male and the female perspective, first of all.
Okay, which brings me to the question of how did you cast your actors and actresses? They are very interesting and very good.
Yeah. Well, usually the way I work is that the first people who I bring in the production process, even if it's theater or film, are the actors, not the idea of the script. So I bring a story, I don't know, one of the stories, and I tell them, okay, do you want to develop this? Would you want to work on this? and we start developing the characters. I write a script. Usually it takes 3 to 4 hours to write the first draft of the script. Is something that I kind of just get out of me, I'm exploding it out. And then based on the actors and on the way they're building their characters, I'm modifying some things. But here I had Irina. There was actually another actor that played Liviu in the beginning. And actually, the only actor that I casted was Mircea Postelnicu. All the others were brought in the way I've just told you. And for Mircea, it was an amazing experience with him, because I actually casted him for the role of Tudor, Irina's boyfriend. And then the boy who was reading his part, he just went to the bathroom, and I said, Mircea, can you help us out with Liviu? And he actually did his best to help us out with Liviu. And he did something very subtle. He knew that Liviu was dyslexic, and he did this very subtle, how do I say, mistake in his speech, And I felt it was so smart, and so he got there so easily and so abruptly. And then I called him and I was like, hey, Mircea, you got the part. And he was like, oh, I'm so happy because I really love this character of Tudor. And I said, no, you got the part of Liviu. And he actually told me, I don't think I can do that part. He was like, this is not for me. I don't think I can do that part. And I said, okay, but what if we work? Because I tend to work a lot. I told him, I don't think we're going to shoot this year. I tend to work for 1 year or 2 years with the actors to find common memories. We spend a lot of time researching the script and understanding the psychological side of the characters. So he was like, okay, then let's try this. If we take it step by step, let's try this.
Yes, and the result was indeed very good.
Yeah.
Do you feel as a female director that it's a bit harder to be one in Romania? There are less women directors at this point.
Of course, the answer is yes, no doubts. But not necessarily in Romania. I think it's a worldwide problem, a very serious problem. It's very interesting. I was actually answering to an interview yesterday, and they were asking me, was Irina the subject that you wanted to fight for? And that's not actually my concern, my main concern. The main concern is that inside our industry, everything that is translated as a feminine emotion is a little bit blamed, or every time it's corrected. It's like, yeah, but this is too soft as an emotion, or this is too sweet, or many times dialogues that we write or scenes that we write are compared to soap operas. You're always told this is too easy as an emotion to digest, And I felt as if that is very unfair, because this is the way we express our stories. We're more emotional. And I don't think that should be cut off only because it's easy to get there, to that emotion. If you really look, for example, there's a lot of ambiguity in Irina's emotions. It's not necessarily an easy process to understand her emotions, but I think it's very important for the female director to fight for their way of telling the stories, because from the moment you start your idea till the moment you get out of the editing room, there is going to be a male or a female voice, plenty of them, to be honest, that will tell you, yeah, but maybe it should be a little bit more tough or observatory. I think we're too close to the character, and for me, it was very important to be able to stick to my plan. I wasn't that concerned with the story of Irina. I was more concerned with her psychological journey. I asked myself, who is seeing the story? And then I understood that the public can observe the story, or the public can be Irina, or the public can be Irina emotions. And I had a long talk with the DOP, with Adrian Pădurețu, a director of photography that I recommend for every female director on this planet, because he really understands the way you want to create. And I think there is a huge difference between a female creator and the male creator, and that's not something to blame. So I talked to Adrian Padurețu, and he found the best way to deliver the story so that the public feels as if me, the person looking at the film, the person sitting on this chair is Irina, or I can feel her emotions, or I represent her emotions. And he was very good with that. He played a lot with the fields of depth, and we could do that in a very, very nice way. We opted for long shots so that we can follow the emotion developing inside her. We had no cuts inside the scenes, so you don't cut from her emotions to his emotions. And he did a great job in offering options.
Well, that only tells us that it's urgent and it's very, very crucial that the female voice and way of expressing should get more attention in Romania and worldwide, of course. Given all that, do you know already about your next project?
Yes. We shot in August the next feature film. It's only with non-professional actors from the In-Light Center School. This time I had even more courage in expressing in expressing my female side. I'm almost not following at all a storyline. What I'm following is the way I feel aesthetic and visually to express those dialogues and those characters. So it was very important for me to, for example, we combine elements from Commedia dell'arte with realistic elements. So it's, I don't know what's going on.
We're intrigued already for the next movie, but for the time, we recommend our audience to see Blue Moon. And by the way, why Blue Moon, the name of the movie?
Well, because there's a song, it's actually very local. There's a song in my village in Roznov that is called Kraj Nov, and it means change. And actually all the women in the village, they get out in the streets and they sing this little song named Kraj Nov. It's not actually, Blue Moon is not the translation of Kraj Nov, to be honest, but we couldn't find a better translation, so we went.
Well, it works good because it sounds good, I mean. And they go out when the moon is full, you mean?
No, when the moon is, I think it's called crescent.
Okay.
You know, and it's, yeah.
Okay, very interesting. Something local. First of all, I want to thank you very much for the time. And I want to tell our audience when can they see the movie in the festival. את הסרט ניתן לראות בפסטיבל גם באונליין וגם באולמות. הסרט יוקרן באונליין בין ה-24 ל-27 בספטמבר, ובאולמות תוכלו לראות אותו ב-23 לחודש בשעה 4 בסינמטק, וב-28 לחודש בשעה 10 בבוקר גם כן בסינמטק. אז שתהיה לכם צפייה מהנה, and thank you again.